Welcome back, another the Down and Back Cornhole podcast. Let's go a year in review show with. I got to point this way. He's over there. He's over there way. Donny McPhee, the voice of Cornhole. Donny, how you doing?
What is going on, Corn Dog? What is happening in the Great White North?
Well, right now, what's happening now, and you have till January 1st at 11:59 p.m. to get in on. To take a page out of your book, these sexy bags right here, these actual local warriors, get in on a video that's probably in front of this one here. Tell me what Chris Meek's favorite Canadian TV show is, and you're entered in a contest for some perfect local warriors. Well, actually, my bag of choice right now, and I'm throwing like deck rounds in the high 70s.
Wow. Boards must be fast or something there for you.
And I know he's going to say something different. He's going to make up a bunch of excuses. I even beat Jamie Cowan 5 times in a row.
Isn't this the second time that happened?
There's one time that he doesn't want to talk about. He was up 20-0. I beat him 21-20. But he says it was too long ago for that to happen. But it's all good. So you can get on that contest on the 400 subscriber contest video. And I'm already a fifth of the way to the next contest. We're already at like 411 subscribers. So 450 subscribers. And we give away another set of bags.
Ooh.
Easy way to get bags.
What's the next set?
Thinking maybe set of Outlaws.
Ooh,
Outlaws
is a pretty sexy bag. That is a great fast bag that I think a lot of people could control up there in the tundra that is Canada.
Yep. They were my bag of choice until I started throwing the Warriors, but I think I may go back to the Outlaws for the upcoming conference tournament up here. Never know.
Well, the great thing is to always have both sets in your bag. You know, I say you always need at least 3 sets in your bag. You know, you need a fast bag, a medium bag, and then kind of a utility bag, maybe, a carpet or something else, just to really, make sure you have everything for the boards. Because I don't know if you have it up there, Doug. When we play down here, when you play on boards closest to like the windows or the doors of the venue, that board kind of gets a little cold, and the bags play very different. So from the board, you were hucking the bags, and it was, only going a foot up the board. The board turns to ice, you might say. Yes. And those bags will fly right off the back on you.
Well, in the new Zuka bag that I got for Christmas, I will now have Warriors, Outlaws, Heroes, and the Hustler X.
You gave in, huh? You went to the dark side.
Yeah.
I still rock my custom bag boards backpack. I don't do light up wheels. I don't do Crocs. Don't do Hey Dudes. Can't do it.
I don't do Crocs or Hey Dudes either, but I went with the Zuka bag because I had like that other stupid cinch bag that I had that I had to find another one because back at probably one of the greatest things that happened in our year in review, somebody stole my down and back cinch bag at the ACL Open here in Niagara.
But Doug, those are the bags they give you when they ship you bags. Listen, you were still rocking the 1998 thing that people carried their corn bags in.
Yeah, well, hey, retro was always good.
It sucked that it was a custom down and back one, and whoever has that, if you use it out of your house, we will know who you are. But that was a beautiful part of last year.
It was. So let's get into your review because we've got a couple things to get into. So your review, what's your biggest takeaway from 2022?
The biggest takeaway for me was really, all the travel I got to do last year, right? I don't think there's any one moment, but I got to go to some pretty cool tournaments and go to some really great places. I started the year off going to Bag and Bash with West Georgia and Titan bags. That was amazing. Second year in a row for me going to that event, and it was the second event ever. Amazing being held right there at the factory where all the bags, all the boards are made. If you ever watch their feed from the Hideaway, excuse me, some of the the live streams were coming from there, so it's kind of cool to be able to go there and hang out. But then I got to travel to the Great White North.
Yes, you did.
For the first ever international tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's only a quarter mile over the Rainbow Bridge, we won't get into that. But it was the first ever international tournament. I got to hang out with you. I got to hang out with a lot of the great Canadian pros and some of the people that I've been able to talk to from Canada. Canadian girls play cornhole. Love that. But it was really cool to go up there and hang out. My only fear of going to that tournament was when I went across the border. If they asked me to go to secondary and they lifted up my trunk, they would either think I'm smuggling something or my wife would find my bag stash. So, that was I was kind of puckering a little as I went across the border. When they're like, anything to declare? I'm like, nothing that my wife needs to know. Next, I got to go, I got to make an amazing trip to the world's largest cornhole tournament. Even though Guinness says it's another tournament, this one just doesn't even try to compete in that. They don't care about it because they know that they have the biggest and best. Got to go to Spencer McKenzie's with Titan, got to broadcast there. It was amazing because I got to hang out for the weekend and really meet some amazing people from around the country. Got to actually meet David Lim and Odie from SWAT again. They were there hanging out. Got to meet Chuck Liddell, made him put on a Titan t-shirt. Well, hold it up. I gave it to him. He said, thanks. I said, no, you need to hold it up. Like, come on, we're not playing this. But that guy is a monster. Then I got to go back in the RV one more time because I got to go to a place that's near and dear to your heart that I know hurt you that you didn't get to go.
No, next year. I will be there next year.
But I got to go to Local Living. Got to park the RV right outside of the barn. Got to hang out with all those amazing people. I got to hang out with Chris Meek. Got to hang out with Rob Law, Matt Harbarger. All the people that were there. It was amazing to, be able to be there. Got partnered up with Adam Hisner in a blind draw. The problem is we were both pretty blind by the time the tournament started. He could still throw bags. I barely had a leg underneath me. But it was a lot of fun. And then I ate a very suspicious brownie and took a nap and missed half the next two tournaments. But I mean, it was an amazing year. It was great.
Well,
I got to go, kind of, feel what it is to be out on my own. I know you've been doing it forever on your own, but I got to see what it's up to do on my own. Learned a lot of things. Been working on a lot of stuff in the background. As I told you before I got on this call, I'm fighting with some software to make it work with all the equipment I have. It doesn't like certain laptops, the only ones I buy. So I'm trying to work on making that work with OBS. So listen, I'm fighting it all the way to the end because I'm trying to live broadcast a tournament tomorrow night.
Well, and good luck with that. But I seen all your travel. I got a bit jealous. I only got to get the one open, but I do plan on getting to some more next year. But just for even just looking at the ACL, just a year in review, there was so much new stuff for people up here in Canada. We had the first international open. We finally had some pros and maybe not so pros from Canada here, but just, there was so much new stuff going on, and it was really our coming out year up here in Canada for the ACL and for cornhole. So it's, that was the one big thing is tournaments now, or just, especially at the end of 2022 after the ACL finals, tournaments are selling out in like a couple days now. So.
Yeah, I've seen it. I mean, and there's some pretty sizable ones going on up there now too. I mean, when you can get to, get a tournament, get over, 50 teams, a couple years ago that was unheard of even down here. But, now I'm seeing Monday nights where there's 100 players showing up. You know what I mean? Like on a Monday night, who would think that's going to happen, right? And I know you guys are starting to get that up there where, you know, you get 3 or 4 different places running over 40, 50 people that night. I mean, you're talking, you know, on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, you have close to 200 to 300 unique players playing, right?
Yep.
That's amazing for the sport up there.
I think there was even one night here, I'd seen that Moondog had posted that there was over 250 different players playing on a Thursday night up here, just in Ontario. And, you know, and looking back a couple years ago, you know, we were getting 15, 20 people out on just a league night. And then when the ACL kind of came in and there was starting to be some multiple tournaments on weekends, everyone's saying, you know what, we don't have, there's not enough people to have multiple tournaments on a weekend. And I'm like, just wait and see. But now we've got, you know, there was one point we had 3 tournaments on a weekend with like 8 players are here, and it's showing that they're coming out in droves.
Well, you know, I had this argument last night. There's a place that I will sometimes play on Wednesday nights. It's where I kind of almost first started playing the game, and for a while we were not broadcasting the airmail pot because it was getting up pretty high at certain points. So, you know, we made it a point to not put it out there. But now they want to go back to putting it out there because they want more players. Here's the problem that I have with that, Doug. And this is one of my pet peeves of 2022 is that people want to get more players by attracting them with stuff like the airmail pot and stuff like that. My point of contention is those aren't the people you want there. This Wednesday night has grown from, you know, 30 to 40 players to up anywhere to 60 to 80 players on a Wednesday night, but they're growing it with new people. It's not the same old faces. These are people that weren't in the game 6 months, 12 months, you know, 24 months ago. So you start bringing in some of these people that want to go around and hustle the pot. Are they going to be the best ambassadors for your week? Or are they going to be the ones that maybe turn 5 or 6 of those people off? And then the week after that, they tell their friends why they didn't go there. So now you lose 10. After that, maybe a couple of the other people drop off because maybe the airmail pot went down a little bit. But by bringing in a different element and not keeping it as spirited and fun, do you start to erode what you built because you're trying to get bigger?
I totally agree because we've had that as well too, and that I really seen that, and I've kind of said this to some people. You know what? You know, ACL Canada coming in, I can see good things, and then there's also those couple little bad things that want to come in because now you've got all these people that are chasing points. We got to be in the top one for chasing points. So they're going to all these different small little leagues, you know, just going for the points because just going for that picture with the bag to show you number 1 finger up. But then that's taken away from those people that are local there, that are, you know, do they want to get out and be just hammered every game, you know, and not have a chance at winning anything nights a week playing at a league night. It got to the point where for myself, the fun just is probably going to be north of 6,000 for our local league here. And they're just wanting that airmail pot. And like you said, is that what we really want? And I'm not sure it is.
There's the difference though between chasing the points to be a pro the right way or just chasing, you know, the dream of being a pro, right? Because here's the thing, if you want to be an ACL pro, an ACO pro, like in my opinion, you have to have a little bit of character behind that, especially from where you guys are, right?
Mm-hmm.
For you to get out of Canada, it's, you know, you're talking a lot of people don't live in like Toronto, right? You yourself don't even live in the city. You live outside the city, right? So for you to get into the city, you're talking 45 minutes to an hour without traffic, right? Yep. You're looking at anywhere from $300 to $1,000 round trip just for airfare, right? Then you're looking at another couple $100 for a hotel room, or you can do the Motel 6 thing and maybe get away with under $200 or $300 for the weekend, right? But then you're not at the venue, you're not with the other people. Potentially a rent-a-car, bag fees, entry fees into it. You're talking one trip is a couple $1,000s. If you don't have that moral character, you're not getting sponsors to get you there. I'm sorry. I don't care how good you can throw a bag. I would not throw you $1 if you weren't somebody that I could see going out and talking about my brand, or even not even just talking, but putting my logo on your jersey, right? Putting your logo on my jersey, on my logo on your jersey is big, right? I'm not talking me, but as a company, it would be, right? Because I'm giving you money to represent me. And if you don't represent everything about it, why?
Compound with Jamie that, just how to go to all of those events from Canada, because you're looking at most of. But if you're going to go to one of the ones that's kind of close to here, you're going to be driving across the border. You're staying in a hotel. You're still got to pay your entry fee to all these tournaments. It gets up there where you're a couple $1,000s a weekend, and that money's got to come from somewhere. And it's and you've got to also be it's not just as much playing now, but you've actually got to be going on social media, doing all that stuff. And I'm not sure a lot of people are really looking at that. They're just looking at, I'm a pro, right? And there's so much more to it than just those 3 little letters that you have to do.
Well, and that's the thing. I think the biggest thing that came out of 2022 is that, to really be the person that's going to get that bigger payday, you really have to be out there and doing everything, right? You look at, some of the top teams out there, and, you see Jay Rubin doing his bag reviews every week, right? I think he's made it through all 12 to 14 bags that, the Titan puts out in the pro line, right? You see him doing his practice routines. You even see Jordan Power starting to do some more social media stuff, right? You see Adam Hisner going, live a lot more. The players are going to have to do more. You've got some major players in the TikTok game, but, throwing a bag and promoting a bag sometimes are two different things.
Yeah. I think a lot of people just seeing the big numbers that some of these pros are starting to kind of pull in, and they're thinking, if I'm going to be a pro, I'm going to get that. No, you're not, right? And you look at sponsorship, and I've talked to a bunch of people about this, is that you see all these people that are putting stuff on Facebook. Is my biggest pet peeve, is that you put on Facebook, I'm looking for sponsors. The big name sponsor you're looking for is not your friend on Facebook. I'm sorry, they're not, and it's you've got to actually go out, put a portfolio for yourself together. You're out there looking for a job. Put a resume together. Go out, and they're not going to answer your first email. You're not going to answer your second one. You've got to be giving them almost 20 or 30, really hounding those people to get just an audience with them. They're not just going to hand it to you. You've got to do something about it.
I've been working on my Miller Lite sponsorship for 20 years now. I mean, seriously, they still haven't given me one dime. I just keep paying them every week. But you're exactly right. I think
I
think the big thing coming out of 2022 is you really do have to work on your entire game, which is not just throwing bags, but how you represent yourself, what you do kind of on and off the court. Listen, Cornhole's getting a lot more light shine on it, right?
Yep.
So, it's a big thing. So what about you for 2022? What's some of your highlights?
I got some highlights and I got some lowlights. I got the highlight was it has to be the ACL Open here, and just how big that was for Canada in letting some of the newer players see just how big it can be, where they're going from tournaments that are, have 6-10 sets of boards to all of a sudden have like, we've got almost 50 sets of boards set up in a big room, and it's like, and then the broadcast court, and that's my other highlight is getting that shot at ESPN and getting to call some fantastic games with some fantastic shots with the guy Trey Ryder, which then becomes a low light, which you were kind of part of, being the 2 losses that I had against that guy from the South.
Listen, he's lucky the RCMP wasn't there, because he would have got arrested for that beating he put on you.
I see it every once in a while. It kind of pops up on my phone, and it's just no. But it's just, for me, the biggest thing with 2022 is that ACL Open and just the growth that Cornhole came in Canada. Because I remember I was back there in November 2016, our first tournament that we had here in Canada, and to see it then grow to where it is now is just it's been fun to watch. And that was my biggest takeaway from 2022, was just the explosion out of COVID that we had up here.
Yeah, because when we really started doing the ghost thing out of COVID, there wasn't a lot of Canadian players that I really saw a lot of. I saw a lot from Europe that started to kind of do a lot more stuff. Near the end, I did start seeing some people pop up. The hard part was, it was the middle of winter. I know. So, playing in Canada might be kind of hard when the board is frozen, eh?
Well, that and throwing those corn dog short bags kind of sucks when you got to dig them out of the snow.
So Doug, do you play a lot of Scorholio?
Not a whole lot. I think I looked at that thing they sent out for their year in review, and I may have had like maybe 40, 45 games in there.
Really?
It made my stats look good.
What do you guys score on usually up there?
Well, most events up here are all ACL events, so they're using the ACL software, right? That I've been on, and my outside of cornhole job doesn't allow me to get away on a lot of weekends, but it's
okay.
So I don't really get a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, speaking of those corn dugs, I'm looking at my stats on Scorholio from last year. 20% of my bags were shorties, because I usually don't throw them off the back. I usually go right off the front of the board. So last year I threw 249 bags off the board.
I didn't get those complete stats from Scorholio, but I did. I'm looking at it now. I had 38 matches that were scored in Scorholio officially. But I do like my win percentage of 47%, because that was way more than any percent in any other place.
Well, you got me. I had 348 matches, and I had a 42% win percentage.
Maybe we'll have to have a game next year. Maybe I may have a chance to.
Listen, we might have to. You're not gonna have a chance, but
you never know. Never know. Yeah, and then the other thing for me for 2022 was just having the new sponsor come on with local bags, and it's just changed my game tremendously. Just I'm not sure if it's just a feel or what, but my deck round scores have gone up. I'm winning more games, and it's just, I'm not sure what's if it's just a new bag syndrome, but I'm doing not too bad.
It's that alien technology.
It is, and as we talk about the TikTok thing, you got to see that I kind of turn a bit green when I throw those bags. I'm not sure, but it's just all about bringing the fun back into the game.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, the game is getting very serious, but as we can try to keep the game fun and keep it fluid at the same time, it's only going to get more and more competitive. But I think it's only going to get competitive in the way that, like travel baseball or, travel softball, right? It's only as competitive as what you're playing in, right? And I think as long as people leave it out on the court and don't really do anything to try to damage or hurt the people around them, I'm okay with intensity on the court. Because listen, I'll play my little baby game. I'll do my stutter step. I'll take my time. I'll pick my bags up off the board. I'll do all the other little tricks that everybody else tries to do. If you want to be that guy or girl, because you know what, I'm not here. I'm not here for cornhole drama. I want to go into 2023 with less cornhole drama, and I may have stirred the pot a lot this year, and that's probably not going to stop next year. But I only stir the pot in trying to move stuff in the right direction. Like we were talking before this about something that a person that used to maybe not like me but now talks to me posted on the Book of Face.
Well, yeah, and we'll get to that in a second, but talking about the drama and stuff, and I kind of mentioned this here in a post before. I'm not sure where I mentioned it, but could turn into a little bit of a Festivus show if anyone's watched Seinfeld. But I said we can probably have a couple little going back here, at least two, and maybe there's many more that we could have. But one of my big things as a Festivus with airing the grievances is just these people that complain about payouts. For lack of a better word, just shut up. I'm done hearing about it. That they want, we need to have 100% payouts, and it seems to me that everyone that I always hear complaining about payouts are people that don't want to run the league themselves. They just want to go and play and just get money. That's all they care about. And there's some times where it's just go away.
Well, and that's the thing. Listen, I play in a lot of different leagues, and there's certain leagues that I'll do a little more or a little less in, based on where I am and what's going on. There's some clubs that are like, oh, everybody has to help clean up. You have to do this, right? Why? Because I joined the club. Do I have to clean up? What's making me do that? I paid my dues. I played my games, right? And in that instance, maybe they get a better rake because I don't want to do crap, right? But, there might be a league or two out there that maybe if you help set up, you get a beer on the league or, whatever it is, right? Give a little incentive here and there for people to want to do a little more. But payouts, here's the thing. Payouts is based on the person that's running it.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing. Like, for these leagues, you're playing in these leagues that anything above 5 boards, one person, unless they're, AAR roofing, can't really do that out of their pocket without making a huge dent in their household income. It's not cheap.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, and for some people up here, they see leagues that are down in the U.S. They've got these big high payouts. Well, most leagues in the States that I'm not sure if you're involved in, but I know some night with and Mark Adams down in the Raleigh area is one big one, is that the bars kick money back into the league, right? They kind of help out with that there, but it's also a two-way street that those players, and this will go into my second Festivus thing, those players also patronize the bar. They will go and they will buy their drinks from the bar. They're not going to bring their own in. They're not going to walk outside and just tailgate in the parking lot while everyone else is inside, giving money to the bar. Because if you're going to give, the bar is going to give money back to you, or maybe the bar won't charge the person running the league as much if you go and you spend money at the venue that you're at. Because we had 2 conference tournaments this year where the venue threatened to shut down the bar because there's people right outside a window tailgating when there's a bar 5 feet away inside the room.
Well,
right?
Doug,
People have to really kind of understand that.
Well, they have to understand, because I don't know how it works up there in, the Great White North, but down here, if we play at a bar or a place that has a liquor license, that bar, I know this, I'm just speaking of Massachusetts, because that's the only, because I know a guy who owns a bar, and we used to run a league it was just a small little rec league, but he kind of laid it out for us. Every instance of an outside beverage that they catch on the premises is a $5,000 fine. Right? You look at that. A 12-pack is what? That becomes 60 grand?
Yeah.
Right? So that hurts that. And then that doesn't include the suspension that they can get in their license. That doesn't include anything else. And that's why a lot of these bars, like, I think the big one that I've seen down here is Jocks. And I think that's, is it Josh Lumsford that does that a lot? Where, the bar kicks in a lot of money because they get a lot of players. Right?
Yep.
They know that they're going to give you $500, but they're going to make $3,000 that night on just bar. That doesn't include food, right? Because of the players that are showing up.
Yeah.
The local Monday night league night that I play in, it's not a league, but Ipswich Bay, North Andover, because of the bar, they don't charge them to play. They don't charge us to play there. They let us play for free, but because of the money we brought into the bar, they remodeled the entire area that we play in because they can now charge more to rent the place out. So we've helped them in so many ways, right? By paying for the bar, they don't serve food, so they let us bring food in because Eddie has a great sponsor that does food right around the corner. But like these people don't get it that you got to give back to those places or you lose those places to play. Because for every one place that lets you do that, there's 5 others that don't get it. Mm-hmm. They don't get that they should let cornhole in there because whatever. It's just a bunch of drunk guys throwing beanbags. No, it's so much more than that.
Yeah, like I know up here, there's been some Facebook stuff going around, and I know I've made a couple comments about it, but it's just about a league down in Florida that they get 60 plus players out for their weekly night, and they're going to be coming on the show here in the near future to talk about it. They get 60 plus players. The bar kicks in $5 a player. That comes in because that $5 are kicking in. They're making at least 20, 30 off that player on alcohol and then food sales, right? And they've also done it right where if they see someone that's bringing in outside alcohol, you're done for the night. You're going home and you're not getting any money back, right? You're not even having a chance because they want to keep that bar happy, and that's a liquor license on that bar. That's a whatever on that bar, right? So it's, they're opening it up for us. Help them buy a beer, buy whatever there. Just, be smart about it.
If you can't afford to drink at the place you're going to play cornhole, don't show up. Don't show up.
Yeah.
Listen, and I know there's a lot of people that are going to say, well, when we go to these different events, the beers are $8, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You're talking about a huge venue, right? Asheville was one of the big ones, right?
Yeah.
Asheville, North Carolina. Yes. They were only serving pounder IPAs, which I loved up until my eighth or ninth one when, I basically couldn't even see the scoreboard anymore. But, listen, that place needs to make money to turn the lights on. That's probably 10 grand just to turn the lights on in a place like that. A small bar, that's not a small bar. That's a small business in your community. That's a family that's trying to make their mortgage, trying to, make a better life for their kids and the rest of their family. Like, that's family to us. Like, we need more people to let us do that. Yeah. We don't need to lose those people.
And my other thing that I'm tired of hearing is that, well, I've gone to a big event in the States and this big name pro, they go out and they drink at their vehicle when they're playing. They don't do it. I really don't care. I don't want to hear that. It doesn't matter to me. It matters of what's happening that's affecting our local stuff here now. Do whatever you want. They can do whatever they want. It doesn't, the old saying, if they jumped off a cliff, are you going to do it too?
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I don't care if big name pro goes out and drinks at their car. Whatever. Guess what? That is on them. Because also at that point, they're not giving back to the place that's letting them be there. Right? And listen, I've been guilty of this. I've done it. But a lot of times now, I will only do it now at places that don't serve alcohol. So say we go to a charity tournament at some place, but there's no liquor license. Will I sneak a few beers in the car? Hell no. I'll sneak a lot of beer in the car.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and there's some of those events where it is BYOB, right? You got to bring your own stuff. It's whatever. But if the venue is serving and they're giving you a space to play, slip them a few bucks to do it. And it's frustrating.
listen, the only thing that hurts me sometimes with my bar tab is when they won't let me use my wife's credit card.
Yeah. That and then the other thing that drives me nuts too, and I've heard some people talk about this, is that when I look at the payouts, well, that doesn't cover my gas, my food, my alcohol. You know what? The payout goes by what you pay in. You're not paying that money for your gas. You're not paying for all the other stuff into the pot. So don't take that into account. Take into account how much you paid into to play in that tournament.
Doug, I hear that more times than ever around here for charity tournaments. Like somebody will post, little Jimmy stubbed his toe and we need to get him a new toenail, right? The first post, once that thing's on the book of face, what's the payout? What's the payout? Who cares what's the payout? If you know little Timmy, or if you have, somebody that needs toenails, like literally play in the tournament. Like, why are you worried about, like, for me, when we go play at a charity tournament, I've done it a couple different ways where if I've won money, I've given it all back. If it's something near and dear to my heart. And other times I've done where I've covered my cost for the day, and it's all dependent on, kind of what's going on around me or what's happening that day. It also depends on how cheap the beer was, right? Because the more I drink, the more I donate. My wife loves that. That's why she takes my ATM card before I go to most tournaments. But don't be worried about the payout, because most of these people that are worried about the payout are also the people that want to get the big P on their jersey, right? They want to be the big pros. If you're going to be a pro, let's not worry about money, because guess what? There's 256 players in the pro division. I'm not even going to count PDC right now, but there's 256. Guess what? Most of the people that are going to, come on board next year, or even most of the people in this field this year, will not be in the top 20. The top 20 is where the money's at. So, and listen, I'm not trying to burst anybody's bubble. I'm not trying to do anything like say anything out of school. But guess what? I see the same names winning the same amounts of money, or decimal points just moving around within that bracket. There's the top 25 elite, and there's another 25 or 30 that can make a run and really be killers this year. But for most of the pro division, they're not going to be there. It's just not going to happen. They might requalify, but they're not going to be even a footnote in the payouts.
Mm-hmm. And that's the people that I don't want to say that I feel sorry for, but just the people that are going and plugging, and maybe some of them are just kind of happy to be there. Which I'm thinking if you're going to go for that there, you want to go and try and be the best and just not be happy to be there. But I think that the bottom half, or some of what people don't realize that will happen if you become a pro. You're not going to be number one all the time or right away. It's taken a lot of people a lot of time to get there.
Well, I think the other thing too, though, is my one piece of advice to the pros that aren't going to be in the top is I saw a post today from Noah Wooten, and he said, "Me and Windsor are on board 46. Come play some cash games, or whatever." I'd walk up there if I was one of those guys. I'd be like, "Listen, 20 a person. Like it's not big money, but I want to see how I can go against you, right?"
Yeah.
Guess what? Education is not cheap.
No, not at all. Not at all. So then that comes in to our next segment, as we talked about, is that person that I think now talks to you. Put on Facebook, I think it was yesterday, that rules you would like to see come in. Now that I've seen a lot of people talking in there, they want to abolish the bag stamp. Well, I don't think the bag stamp's going anywhere. It is what it is, but I think everyone has their own opinion on that bag stamp.
If anything, my opinion has softened on the bag stamp. In the beginning, I referred it back to the I think it was like the 1883 Stamp Act or whatever that was. I forget it was that went down here in the States. But guess what? I think the stamp has helped a little bit. Okay. Has it hurt some of the smaller bag companies? Yes, I think it has. But also some of these smaller bag companies, their business plan, as my 13-year-old daughter would say, is a little sus. Sus. But I like the stamp, but the biggest problem I have is what a lot of these bag companies have paid in year after year. I think there should be a little bit of a tax exemption for them where, the fee to stay there only keeps going up. And that's a little tough. And, I bet you if we could talk to the big five, they like and dislike the taxation without representation.
Well, my opinion on the bag stamp, and I've had it right through, is that cornhole, especially the ACL, wants to be the major sport. And every other major sport, you see it, that there's so many people that are using some of the equipment. You can see the logo of that equipment, and some people have to tape it over or not show it. Right? And so almost every other major professional sport you have to pay to play. You have to pay to have your product in there, because I'll take it back, and I talk with Trey Ryder about this on a show. My son is a goalie in hockey. I had some great equipment that he was going to get. It was custom made by a guy here in Hamilton, and my son was like, well, no, because I don't see any goalies in the NHL wearing it. And I showed him a video where this guy was like, I can make all this custom stuff, almost exact same product, but I don't pay the big money that the NHL wants for my equipment to be used in the NHL. Some goalie to wear it or to use their bags. So I'm thinking it's the same analogy for me. So that's kind of where I've been the whole time.
Listen, you can really sell me on the bag stamp when, Castaway 2
right
has, baggy or something, right? Like Wilson, right? When he's sitting there talking to a Titan bag and, having a conversation with them. That's when, totally believe in the thing. Because, I've talked about this in the past where ACO was the first one to put the stamp on a bag. They did it a long time ago and they got some backlash. They went away from it. And then, the ACL did it. And now the ACL is back at it too. They're stamping bags. So, it's kind of back to the future. And, I didn't understand the legacy behind it until somebody from, there's been a long time ACO member let me know kind of, it happened. But, it's a way for the league to bring in some income. But also, I think, once again, you got to bring some of those fees down. And, maybe if, bring in maybe let somebody do one bag for a smaller fee, right? Just to become a new bag company, or, give some of the, the big 3 or 4 a break on some of their, the taxation with, signing up. You're talking couple $1,000, I think it was, to get a bag certified, and then a 15% VIG. That's a lot of cash.
Well, I also look at some of these companies. Do you really need 15, 16, 17 sets of bags out there as a pro model where you're paying the top dollar?
Yeah,
I'm not sure you really need that many.
You do. Because if you don't have that many, and the it doesn't fit someone's style of play, you're not selling that bag.
No.
You know what I mean? You're not getting it. You know, the other hard part is, you know, we talked about the pros a second ago too with the whole bag thing. I posted this and I got a lot of backlash for it. I said, listen, if you're trying to be a pro for this next, you know, for 2023, you better throw a 2023 stamp bag all year. And people are like, well, if they're a pro, they should be able to throw any bag. Oh, any bag should be able to be thrown. No. Listen, if you're throwing last year's material, it could be very different based on the market, right? Based on, you know, material and everything else, even though everybody's trying to keep it the same because that was what was approved. But let's be honest, textiles change, right?
Mm.
The way they treat the textiles change. So, you know, you got to look at it and really make sure that bag is the right bag, because when you get to the end, if you go to the pro qualifier, or if you go to your, where's your conference one? I think it's a conference, right? Your conference qualifier, you have to throw a 2023 bag. You can't throw any other bag. So why would you be practicing with anything else?
Exactly. So is there any other rules that you think should come in for? I seen you were making a lot of comments, so I know one.
I'm still gonna harp.
That you would like to see.
I'm still gonna harp on the step over. I'm still gonna stay on there, right? Because here's the thing. There was a match that was decided based on somebody going over the board and cross the center line. Right? Mm-hmm. That is 2 no-nos right there. Listen, the bag was released. Except maybe 1 no-no, because the bag was released before they crossed the board, but they crossed the center line. So that bag should have been treated, new rules should have been treated like a touched bag, right? So those points that they got some of those points should have gone away, right? And trust me, I love this pro to death, but I'm going to call the shot the way it should be called. You know, it's not the shot heard around the world. This is not Concord, Massachusetts. This is the shot that I think should be looked at from a rules violation and should be talked about. Because, you know what? Here's the problem with the rule, with the step rule, is as a player standing beside that person, I'm going to call them on a league night to bust their balls, right? Yeah. On the main stage, nobody's going to call it. Nobody's going to call it.
No.
The only time on a broadcast I've ever seen a major rules violation be called was in the other organization, the ACO. And it is with one of the top players right now in the ACL, Tanner Halbert. Mm-hmm. He threw a bag, which was in violation of their rules, where he stepped over the line and it almost cost him $25,000. Right? Other than that, I've seen on live feeds, you know, I think it was Keck that was there that called somebody on the time rule, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Called on the time rule, right? They've called on, you know, a lot of different stuff on the side. And, you know, I think Josh and, you know, the rest of the team are doing a great job on the side. But is it ever going to happen on live TV?
I can't see it happening on live TV, no.
I can't either. That's a bad look. It's a bad look. So you got to fix it on the side courts. And I know they're trying. I know Josh is really trying to fix it on the side courts. And I think that's great. But I think until the Final Four, you need to stage an official at each court.
Yeah.
And they need to be watching the entire game.
And we even seen it, and I've got my opinion on it of last year at the finals, where there was a scoring issue, right? And my thing with that was that everyone's saying, well, you need to do this here, you need to do that, but I'm still saying that it's up to the player. We've all been told you have to make sure you know what the score is. Don't put it off just to the other player or whatever. You've still got to know what's going on.
And that's a tough one because you're in such a zone, right? You're in such a different headspace. I don't know if you can fully put that on the player, right? That's a tough one because I know the match you're talking about.
Yeah.
And the one player that made a mistake, and it was a mistake, it was not done intentionally, was playing. They were both playing at such a high level. They were both playing, out of their heads. And I don't like that when you're getting that deep in the tournament that they have to worry about playing on that high level, but also worrying about putting in a score on, let's be honest, it's like the third best scoring app in the world. It's not great.
I haven't had an issue with it because I'm not technically savvy, but
there's an app out there that's a lot easier.
I have issues with that as well too. With that one, when you have to do the magic, it becomes like the other one.
Score magic is magical, Doug. All you need to do is put in points versus points. It's really easy. Instead of 3 on, 1 in, you don't play the game.
No, you do. You still have to put how many you put in.
No, but that's secondary. That's secondary. But when you're playing cornhole, do you count how many are in and on, or do you count points?
I usually don't have to count how many are in.
No, for the guy that threw against you.
It depends on who that is.
But most people playing the game are playing the game with how many points are on the board, right? Yes, and the secondary stat is how many were in, right? Based on certain scores are going to trigger 1 or 2 in or whatever, right? Based on the score. But for somebody just coming into the game, it's more fundamental than 3 on, 1 in because you don't learn the game counting that way. You just don't. And listen, it's not because Cornhole is the greatest thing ever in the whole wide world, but it is.
Well, and I think, and just kind of thinking that now is every TV broadcast has you got Josh Keck. I've seen Yeti doing scoring there on TV broadcasts. Thinking here now, there's enough players that are just milling around the boards that you could get someone who could volunteer to put that score in.
You have enough ACL employees. You've got Keck, you've got Madden, and depending on where you are, you've got the local director, right? You've got so many people that could put that score in. You don't even need a pro. You've got so much.
I'm just saying, even for just in the regular bracket, the first couple of games in the bracket.
Oh no, but when you get to the grade 8, right? When you get beyond 8, you've got enough people that know how to do it that could do it, right? And they're not invested in the game; they're just keeping score. So you could get, you get a Matt guy, you get a Brett guy, you could get, Frank Modlin to stand there and keep score, just to move things along if they're not there near the end, right? Where 90% of the time they're going to be there, but you can get some of the people that are good at it to be able to help out, right? To make sure that the integrity of the game is there. And I think a lot of the things that happened this last year, there was no integrity issues. A lot of it was more, heat of the moment mistakes, right?
Yep.
We didn't have anybody padding their PPR. And if you watched anything today, the person that was top in PPR, I think was like 7th or 8th in the bracket. So it proves the point. You don't have to have the greatest PPR. You just got to win the damn game.
that PPR annoyed everyone. Just talking about we got, and I've had a talk with one league up here. They do all their stuff. You have to be a certain PPR or this year to be in this part of the tournament. The only PPR that matters to me is 21. Get 21 points in the game. I don't care what my PPR is.
So I played in a
I just need that win.
I played a league night around here, Doug, and I went 4-0. I didn't lose a game, but my PPR was like 5 something because I was blocking and making the game messy. And, you know, the other person was kind of kicking off, and I was scoring more points on top of the board instead of in the hole because I was using a slightly attackier bag, and it put me in tier 4. You know, you would think like you're 4-0, you're going to be in like tier 1, right? But because it was PPR, not, you know, overall, I'm playing like I normally do. Well, a little better than I normally do because usually I'm like one leg and a little tipsy. But, you know, sometimes those are good, sometimes those are bad, right? You know, we've even seen around here where some people play in tournaments where your SPR can be under 54 and people are creating a secondary account just to sandbag.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, why? Who cares? Yeah. You're not supposed to be playing with those people. It's too much.
Yeah, and that's our other thing we're seeing here is that the tournaments, especially it's the lower levels, the intermediate, the competitive ones are starting to fill up a little more. It was funny. It at our conference coming up, intermediate, competitive, and the open filled up very quick. The advanced did not. So that's like we got a lot of people that think that they're a lot worse than what they are, and a lot of people that think they're a lot better than what they are. Player, I'm a little more of an intermediate advanced. So we'll see how that goes.
I don't play anything below open because I'm just going to I'll go 0-2 and take my points.
I think right now, I am like 3,000 something in our conference here, which I'm okay with because that shows that, you know, we went from being like 1,000 players before to now like 3,000 in the conference. So that shows that we're just growing. So it really doesn't matter to me. I know I'm not going to be top 100 again. I was in that first group of top 100. I got the T-shirt. I'm fine.
All right. So my last piece of Festivus here for the ACL.
Yes.
Take my ban off. Let me do a couple live broadcasts. Like seriously, come on. Why you so much against me?
You got to do a live broadcast up here in Niagara, and you got to talk with Mr. Moore as well.
Oh, well, I got to sit on the side. We were kind of off microphone a little. Good for him because I tortured him a little bit. But no, what I'm saying, like, let me do. You know, listen, I got to do some stuff at Spencer's, but that was more because of the most amazing man in the whole wide world, Mr. Brandon Graber. You know, he longtime friend, longtime sponsor. But ACL, come on, what are you afraid of? I won't drop any F-bombs.
Not like those other people that are kind of west of you and southwest of me.
Yeah, listen, here's the thing. I should be able to be on ESPN broadcasting from Amarillo City. If I don't get in this year, I'm gonna like stay outside and stalk them. I'm gonna jump the wall. Corn Doug's gonna be holding the ladder while I climb over the wall.
I was gonna say you're gonna be on the outside with like on a trampoline. You just see your head pop up and down every once in a while. So what's on the horizon for 2023 for you? What do you see happening?
So 2023, I've got some couple things already planned. Right now, tomorrow will be my test of all my equipment that I'm fighting with here to do a broadcast from a pre-New Year's party out at an amazing place called Game On in Fitchburg. It is this massive complex, Doug. If you remember the conference center we were in up in Niagara.
Yep.
The building alone is the size of that building, but take 5 more of those buildings and put it behind it for outdoor fields for like soccer and lacrosse and pretty much everything else. Place is amazing. We're going to be broadcasting from there tomorrow night. Then I got, a couple weeks off, and then me and my brother Chris, we are off to the great state of Iowa. We're going to the Billionaire Classic. I will be broadcasting from there with Triple Crown. So I'll be going out there, and then Memorial Day weekend, I will be back to the Mecca of Cornhole down in Villa Rica, Georgia. I'll be back at Titan because that will be Bag and Bash 3. And from that point, I know we've talked about a couple things of doing some stuff kind of, I'll say local, but it's local between me and you, kind of still up north.
Yes.
So we still got to figure out those dates to kind of hit some spots in Canada. And then for the rest of the year, I don't have much planned. Right now, I'm kind of playing it by ear, seeing what's going on. I've been in talks with a bunch of different people to see what's kind of happening, where we're going to go. So past kind of May, I don't have anything. The only week I have blocked off is the week before Father's Day, because here in New Hampshire, right above me, is the 100th anniversary of Laconia Bike Week, which is right by the racetrack there. And part of it is actually done at the racetrack. But hopefully at some point when my bike is fixed, since it's been in the shop since May 12th of this year, that's another low light of this year. I did not I rode my bike 3 times before someone drove to the back of me. I'm okay, but poor Bertha, she's not good. She's still getting fixed. I think she's 40th in line, so I should get her back by hopefully the 1-year anniversary of her accident. So, but that's it. That's all I got planned this year. But, me and the wife did plan a big birthday bash for the both of us, though.
Okay, I may have to travel down for that.
Well, no, that's not. It's going to be a long trip for you, Doug.
Okay.
So, in March, I turned 50. I know you can't tell because I look damn good, but but in March I turned 50, and in May, my wife may or may not turn the same age. I will not disclose that, but we're calling it our Hawaii 5-0 vacation because we are taking the 2 of us and the kids to Hawaii for 1 week at a Disney resort.
Okay.
So by that point, I may have a little more gray hair in the beard, but I'm going for the big Canadian beard. I'm going to go for the big, like Aurora Borealis beard.
Well, I'm trying to keep the snowdrift a little tight, so it's.
I think that's the longest I've seen your hair, Doug.
Well, it could have been a little longer at some other times, but just
Well, no, besides the mohawk.
Yeah.
I think that's the most hair I've seen.
Yeah, well, it's winter up here, right? So it's gotta go. Yeah, I'm just for 2023. I'm going to finally get into I think my second ACL event for the year is the International Virtual Blind Draw. I'm just waiting to see who my partner will be. For that starts January 6th. Then after that, I will be making live feed appearance at our conference event in the same conference center that you were at for the Open, a little smaller in the venue. That, and then waiting for Mr. Kazicki, Todd. Are we gonna hear about any Opens here in Canada? So I've been hearing rumors. That's all it is. There's just there's been nothing set in stone. So we're trying to find out when some stuff will be there. If that will be announced at any time soon, because it'll be that's everyone's talking about up here. It's just when is the next Open going to be? So there's that, and then my only other thing after that is February. If anyone will be in the Dominican Republic, we can have an Open down there in Punta Cana. So we'll see if there's anyone down there. If there's even boards at the resort, they won't let me know if they have boards there yet, if I have to take my own down or what. And then Memorial Day weekend, while you're in Georgia, I'll be almost there. I'll be in North Carolina, trying to win some games in Charlotte on Memorial Day weekend.
Wait, is that with my boy Heath?
So that's kind of what my plan is for right now. And then maybe in July, hit up. That would be with Heath again. Yeah, that I didn't do very well, but it was fun.
I love that.
And then July, maybe come down to see you at the Speedway.
I love that. The Speedway. So, from like I think I told you before, like off the broadcast, the Speedway for me, depending on vehicle, depending on time, I can usually get there in about an hour. And you would think from where I live to Concord, New Hampshire is a little longer, but it just depends on how much my radar detector goes off that for me to get there. I know those are foreign to you because they're illegal in Canada.
Yeah.
Before we crossed the border, I had to hide mine in my center console.
So,
but listen, it's been great. I've had honestly this year just talking with you and being able to be able to talk through chat through Messenger and through some of these talks we've had. Honestly, it's been awesome for me to stay connected with with you and the cornhole community in Canada. So I just have to say thank you for what you do up there, because it's not easy doing what you do. Especially, listen, I found out this year being a one-man show, it's not easy.
No, it's not at all. And then when the 10-play army comes after you with their hurt feelings all the time, it's not everyone's going to talk about you. You got to win something. And if you want me to talk about you, win one game. That's all you got to do. Well, I know it's hard sometimes.
Well, the thing with it is too, like, here's the thing. I'll let people in behind the curtain too. Like, before we do these things, I write down a bunch of notes, right? I've got a notepad beside me that I've got stuff written on. But guess what? Based on what we're talking about, my field of like where we're going is all based on what's been said. So, sometimes there's squirrel moments. It's going to go, it's left, it's going to go right. Like, you can't fit everything in an hour. You just can't. And you can't talk about everybody because you're going to talk about the highlights. You're going to talk about the lowlights. But if you're in the middle, unless something spectacular happened, you might get left out of the conversation. But the way to be in the conversation is to be one of those people that are, helping the sport grow, because you might not win, but if you're moving everything forward, you might get some shine.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're up. I've been trying to keep the shows around a half an hour, but we've blown that all out of the water here. So, you got to talk about your sponsors. My sponsor, I've got the great bag sponsor of local bags. Got the Alien Resin shirt on here, and new discount code Alien Resin 20, all capitals. Just see if it'll come up here. We'll get you 20% off of the Cougar bags. There it is, right there. Finally, come up on the screen. Alien Resin, all capital letters, and you can get yourself some more local bags. I know I've had some people make fun of me that hey, local now ships to Canada, but they do ship to Canada, so it's you can get your local bags up here, and then you can throw like myself and ACL Pro Connor Weiss up here, who throws local bags, as well as Moondog Cornhole up in the Muskoka region. So you can go in that. He's a little down. If you need some boards, check out JC Cornhole. He's had a couple of bad beats in the last week, so he needs some people go and help him and buy some boards. JCCornhole.com, and then if you're in Alberta, check out Darren with Sierra Property Inspections. SierraHome.com. Like I say, when you go in, you have your host inspected by Darren. You're doing two good things. You're having your home inspected, and you're helping out a children's cancer hospice in the Edmonton area. If you're playing cornhole, to do. And I know that you have your type. So
listen, I have two sponsors, some of the most amazing sponsors in the whole wide world. As you can see behind me, Titan Bags, powered by West Georgia Cornhole. Titan Bags, the most amazing bags in the whole wide world. I'm right up there with Local 2. Love Chris Meek and Brandon Greba, two of the greatest people in my life in this game. Love them both to death. But Titan Bags, listen, some great bags. And if you want to know anything more about the bags, go to Jay Rubin on the Book of Face. He's done a review on every single one of the pro bags to tell you kind of how they play, how they work. And, because listen, Titan Bags not only makes bags, they make boards. They do make boards. They make some of the greatest boards in the whole wide world because Titan has the X Factor boards. The X Factor in your game should be their boards. Many imitators, but they just don't hold up, kids. They don't. And Scoreholio. Listen, the greatest scoring app in the game, because if you're not using Scoreholio to play cornhole, your game is pointless.
Okay, I want to thank you again for coming on, for doing this talk again. I know we're going to talk again soon, but for everyone, make sure you're sharing, and subscribing to the show, and you've still got time to get in on the 400 subscriber contest. Just have to say which Canadian TV show is Chris Meek's favorite TV show.
If you hit me up, I can tell you I've already entered 22 times.
Again, thanks for doing this here, and we'll see everyone else next week when we have our next show. Not sure who the guest will be on there, but it'll be someone to talk cornhole.